Hey, hello. It's YouTube. How are you? I'm here for another video. Hope you're well. You find me wanting to do two things today. Yes, First Age is trying to do two things. I can't do more than two. I'm getting old. I want to show you Roll again. So I'm in Roll. I'm presenting within Roll. Very easy to set up Roll for streaming as well. You literally just capture the video box, or the Chrome tab in my case, and pretty much you're off. This is Roll. It's a free-to-use virtual tabletop or play experience software. I'm not sure what the right phrase is. And it majors, as you can see, on a video conference software feel. So the focus is on people and the focus is on video boxes. Were there 5 of us playing, there'd be 5 boxes now. And that's kind of its main operating. So I want to show you Roll. I've done that before. You can go to my back catalogue and have a look. It has developed a little and there's more to come. I want to talk about the more to come as well. We'll look at some of the tools. Now at the front of this video, there was a splash screen that said virtual play, get on and do some actual play. And that will have immediately turned half of you off. So I've lost half of you already because you just don't like them. Am I going to do that now? No, I'm not. Will I do an actual play using Roll for the Infinity 2D20 role-playing game? That's the second thing I want to really talk about, Infinity. Then, well, maybe. I don't know if I've got the chops to do it, really. It's got a performative overhead that I'm not sure either me or my players want to actually participate in. But certainly Roll's a great place to do it. I'll kind of show you why. So I'm not doing that today, but I am showing you Roll, and I'm going to show you a bit about Infinity and how I've made Infinity work on Roll. And I've done that from scratch, and it didn't take me very long. And that's one of the other great things about Roll. It's got an interface that lets you build sheets that doesn't require any programming, and gets you up and running with a game. Particularly if you also like other virtual tabletops and they don't have a system. Well, you can come here very quickly, put up a system, and you can go. And then I have to say, Roll has got some uniquely implemented features, I think, that make it stand out in a particular way. And we'll have a little look at those as well. That's what we're doing. Well, stick around if that's of interest, and I'll give you a quick tour. Let's see how we go. Let's start with Roll then, and the tools. So what you're looking at now is a slightly higher than a full HD resolution. If you're thinking of full HD being sort of 1920 by 1080 pixel screen, then this is slightly larger. So bear that in mind. You've got panes on the left and panes on the right. And you can see as those both come out, the video screen constricts and to match and to fit. If you've got 5 players, right now you've got 5 boxes in the middle and they become a little bit squashed. And at the moment, they're not optimized to use this space quite as they should, I think. So they can become a little bit small, particularly on a full HD screen. And I think they are looking at the user interface and how that is resolved. But it's still there, it's still great. You don't need both these panes out all the time, but you will use them frequently, partly because at the moment, and again, they're looking at this, there is no pop-out. So everything works within your browser session, including your sheets and including your other tools. And there's some stuff down there as well, which we'll come to in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the sheets for now. Whoa. You see how that moves? Makes you sick. Not really. My son's VR car racing. That makes me sick. Too old. I don't know how his brain manages it. I can't do it. Anyway, tools then. So tools. Here are some tools. Which is now on a specific sort of right, as I look at it, right-facing pane. Things about your dashboard, going back to your dashboard, going back to your main control within Roll. Other things like ordering stuff. You can buy stuff on Roll now. They've got quite a number of games. Quite a lot of Modiphius games, actually, but not Infinity 2D20. They've got others, Fallout and Dune and Star Trek Adventures and other cool things, and lots of other games as well. And then that's coming and that's building. Not only that, but they've just literally recently launched a sort of developers market where they will support you in bringing your game to Roll, and presumably being able to market it as well, which is really good. And they are there to help. So if you're thinking about putting your game out onto a VTT, Roll is a great place to start. It really is. Really excited about that. I've got some. I don't know whether I'll put it on Roll. I could do. Are they good enough? I don't know. I might try it. I'd love to see Tripod on here. I've got a sheet for it. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, enough of that. Prattle. Lots of other great things. Reporting bugs if you find any, and leaving if you want to leave. The dice roller. Here's a dice roller. So the dice roller comes out. You can roll dice, 2d20, roll. It provides a result. We can't see it on this video, but actually in the top left, there's a list of the people that are rolling dice and their last result until they clear it by pressing clear. So, and it's also stored in the dice log, which is in the chat, which I'll show you in a moment. So there's ways of storing and seeing the dice rolls. Again, they're going to look at that as well. They're going to look at the dice roller. I'm looking at the dice roller. What are they going to do to it? Probably some really cool things. We need custom dice. There's no D3. It doesn't do dice pools in terms of showing results. So it shows you the dice and you can eyeball it, just as you would if you're around a table. But it doesn't say for a dice pool how many successes you get, for example. It only adds up the dice at the moment. So they might look at that, and they're certainly looking at custom dice, which for 2d20 is quite useful because the d6 is a custom die. It's the results of 1, 2, and well, for infinity anyway, is a 6 mean different things. 3, 4s, and 5s are ignored. So how do you reflect that? Well, I think Roll will start to look at that and start to help us with that. So that's the dice roller. Yeah, it does the job. There is something about auto clearing as well. You've got to clear your dice result every time because it just logs it and stores it and keeps it. So clearing it's the thing, but they're going to auto clear, or have the option to auto clear, which I think would be really useful. So dice roller, books and apps. So you can load up your own PDFs. You can load up your own resources for people to read and access, and it will open up in another pane. I'm going to try and do this now live. Well, it's not live, I'm recording, but it will be live to you. Let's just see what happens. So here's one I prepared earlier. Here's a handout for my 2d20 Infinity game, and it says I'm going to just I will be looking over here to check what's going on. View in a new window. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay. I wonder if you can still hear me. I think you can. I don't know if that's legible. But this is, I'm going to just zoom in. There you go. Maybe that's more legible. So you can do that. You can set up places to read things, and it opens up in a new tab. Nice. It's all in the browser. As I say, it's all free, and it runs in most browsers. I'm going to close that now, and I'm back. That seemed to work reasonably well. I think I'm still here. I'll find out when I stop recording. I've got the player's guide for Infinity up there, and I've got a handout which has got like a cheat sheet for the rules. Yeah, you can build your own or PDFs, publish them, put them on Roll, add them to your game. Images. Where would you be without an image? Right, now this is going to operate slightly differently. You ready? So you can put images up. These are just pure images. So I'm going to there's a map of the human sphere. This is not a tactical map. This is an image. Yeah, come on then. Show party. I'm going to go show party. I could go view privately. Makes no odds. I haven't got a party with me. Woo. Anyway, show party. You ready? Watch. Bosh. Oof. It's there. Let me zoom out a little bit. Right. Hello. I'm down here. So this is what happens when you share something on screen. In this case, it's an image. Now, it could be a tactical map. I will come to a tactical map in a bit. So you want to share an image with the group. What happens is all the player video boxes resolve into a stripe along the bottom of the screen. It does that automatically for you. Again, this is higher than full HD resolution. If you've got 5 players, it could be that your 5 boxes stretch beyond the stripe. They don't minimize to fit within a stripe always, and sometimes they another box, one of you, is shunted beneath with a bit of a scroller to get to them, which isn't quite ideal, because then you're losing somebody. You feel like you're losing somebody. I feel like I'm losing somebody. So I think hopefully they'll look at that as well. But it is actually quite good the way it automates. It keeps you fairly visible, and you can display an image, and I think you can do things like, if I really wanted to, I could draw on it to, you know, I don't really not sure why I'd want to. I'm just displaying an image here. That's all I'm doing. Now, if I come out of this, I'm going to stop sharing. I can do 2 things actually. I can minimize. I'll minimize it first. So if I minimize it, boing, it becomes another video box. It's kind of still there, but we're still there. I don't use that feature very often, but it's there if you want it. And if I click again, I'm sharing. And if I stop sharing, I'm back. Because you can see how the workflow works. And yeah, it's pretty seamless. So sharing assets, seeing images, moving things around, I think pretty good, actually. There are some improvements to come, as I say. There are things that I'm looking for. But I've been using it. I've been running Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, see my previous videos, on roll for nearly 2 years. So the question as to whether it does tactical or not, well, it does, because I've been doing it. There are improvements there as well, but let me show you. The maps, the tactical maps. This is where we're going to go tactical on you. I've actually got quite a few now. Anyone would think I'm seriously preparing a campaign. That's a small one. Let me again. It's the same workflow. Show party. Ready? You know what's going to happen. I'm disappearing down here. I'm going to wave. Make sure you can still see me. Here's a map. It's even got tokens on. I'm going to zoom in. Oh. I have to say, setting up maps and tokens on roll is really, really easy. They've made it very straightforward. When you upload an image, it does say, "Oh, thanks for that. Is it actually a map?" And you say, "Yeah, it's a map." And they say, "Okay, what is your sort of token size units, vertical and horizontal?" And you set that up. And then when you set up a token, I'll show you the tokens in a minute. Well, you just say how big the token is in terms of the number of units, be it squares or hexes. And then they just resolve on the map. Really, really easy. It's pretty much a single layer. Well, no, it's not. That's not a single layer. That isn't really true, is it? You've got a map and you've got tokens on top of it. The tokens themselves are purely visual representations of the characters. They don't have any extra fun stuff, like if I right click on one, it's not going to do anything. In fact, you can't see that Windows image. It does nothing other than copy image, save image as, nothing else. If you left click on it, it doesn't do anything. Left click and drag, you're moving your token around the map, and it's great for visualizing what's going on. It does that job very well. There is no fog of war on the system, and it needs one. How they do it, they're looking at. There's a number of ways they can do it. They can either integrate with others, or they can potentially do some further development on their existing map and tokens capability. There are ways around it. I wonder if have I done that? Have I added? I haven't done that. These are the tokens I can add. You can add very, very large tokens, and they can act as like a fog of war by just plonking a big, I don't know, token of some fog or something, or a big black square as I use them. But they're a bit cumbersome, and you've got to move them around, and players can move them around by mistake and so on. I've also got, you might see if I just zoom in yet further, I've created little small tokens to signify if I've got 3 guards. Well, I've got little tokens to signify which is 1, 2, and 3. I'll show you sheets and how you record what happens to characters during a tactical encounter. I will, spoiler alert, most of what I do in terms of recording, wounds or things like heat, it would be an Infinity. So resources is pretty much offline. Not all of it. Some of it's offline. So for guard number 1, I'll just use a bit of paper, and if he's down some vigor, I'll note that he's down some vigor or she's down for some vigor, and bosh, you're done. I don't store that on roll, and it's quicker. It's much quicker that way than using the sheets, which I'll come to in a moment. The sheets do have their uses though, and quite useful. So quite nice tactical map. Works reasonably well. It's certainly simple to apply, and if you just want a tactical overlay with some counters so you can kind of see where everybody is, and if you're prepared for a bit of fumbling when it comes to Fog of War, then actually it does do the job. It really does. And we've been playing for a long time. It's got a lot of quirks which we've found. The delete is sticky. So if you delete something and then forget and you don't turn it off, you can accidentally start deleting things before you toggle it off again. There's a few minor things. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'm going to stop sharing that now, though. Bosh, I'm back. Woohoo! And that's how it works. That is the workflow. That's how it feels. We'll look at sheets in a mo. Tokens I've mentioned. I have got some tokens for my game. Again, you just upload them as images. I've got a pencil and I'm pointing at you. I don't know why. You get a very... What I was going to say was you get a very generous storage on the system as part of your free. Nothing is free. Something's going on. Somebody's sold their soul to something. 5 gig. 5 gig of storage. That's loads. That's loads. There's no music on here yet. I think music and video would probably kill that quite quickly. But for images and PDFs, it's a big amount. And I'm not touching it. I'm hardly touching it. And I've used it for 2 years. Here's hoping that Roll are not watching and suddenly think, oh, well, we'll drop it down to 1 or something. Don't. 5's great. I like it. Keep it. Yeah, tokens. You can make them different sizes, so they resolve on the map in different ways. Chat. I promise you the chat. Now, all that you'll see on chat is me practicing dice rolls, I don't want you to think that I get up in the morning and have some breakfast and think, I'm going to go over to Roll and do some dice rolls. Just fancy it. I wouldn't do that. No. Anyway, yeah, lots of dice rolls. But that's because everything is shown. So you see everything that's done, including non-private dice rolls are resolved on here, so you can see them. I'm using resolved a lot, so it's starting to annoy me. The quirks of speech. I do this drop down. It doesn't show. I was trying to check it if it showed. You can select everyone instead. Now, everyone is the players talking to each other. So it gets rid of all that dice roll rubbish, and it's just the chat, which is quite nice to see that. So they've filtered it on everyone. I've got nobody with me. I haven't got players yet. But when I do, there'll be lots of ribald chat, I'm sure, in the chat log. You can chat to individual players as well. If in the drop down, which doesn't resolve, it says everything, everyone, or dice log. So you can see just the dice. You can see all the chat. Or if you've got player Charles, if I've got a Charles, I can select Charles and the two of us can just chat away. And that's our chat. So there's private chat as well built in. You got some chat. Quite nice. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to close that pane. Whoa, suddenly we've got all this real estate. Oh, go on. I'm going to show you the control. I'm going to go round the clock. So have a look down there. You'll see, I'm just checking that I've resolved things right on it. Fucking resolved again. There's some controls down here. There's something that sort of controls your audio and visuals. So you get to just check your camera. You get to check your microphone to make sure that's all okay. Screen share. They've introduced screen. You can. So this is going to be quite cool. I'm going to screen share while in an OBS session, while in Roll. What I should be doing is screen sharing a video of me for the pure narcissistic joy of it. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to do screen share, and then you'll see all the things I've got open. Let's just give that a go. Right, ready? Go. There you go. Right, I'm going to go for a Chrome tab, and I'm going to go for, let's go for the sheet builder. I'm going to share it. So what happens now is I've shared an asset with the group, and actually it's a Chrome tab. And actually this is the FAQ and role guide, which is available on Notion. And they've done a really good job with it. I think it's Bebo that's done this, somebody who works for Roll. She's done an awesome job with this. It's got, for example, this is how to use a sheet builder. So you want to construct sheets, which will come to a moment. They've got loads of guidance. Elle, who is one of the owners, they've also done a video. And really good resources. So they've really come on in terms of their resources. Now, what am I trying to do here? I am sharing a screen. I don't use screen sharing very much at all in my games. You could share a YouTube video, for example, that's got audio on it if you really wanted to. I'm not sure how I would use this. I'm going to click stop sharing and see what happens. Have I lost myself? If I close that, what happens? I've got something else. I'm just cycling through the tabs. I'm just seeing how that works. So in principle, you can share screens, and that potentially quite useful. I will show you another one, which is the Infinity 2D20 character builder. And then you've got your controls at the bottom for your microphone and for your video, which you can switch off and on. I'm going to try and switch my video off and on. Something's going to break. I don't know. And it's not Roll's fault. It's me fiddling around with OBS and, well, me. But let me just try it. I switch off my video now. And it resolves. God, I can't believe I said resolved again. To my default image. And I switch my camera back on. And ideally, I'll come back. I seem to have done. And OBS, my streaming software, just manages that seamlessly. Very good. That's the controls. I think down there, that takes you to my dashboard. I'm not sure why that's there as well as it being available here, but it is. I'm not going to question it too much. It just is. Sheets. Right, here's where the power of Roll, the power of being able to express yourself in Roll and create and build. It's another lovely feature of Roll, and it's important not to underestimate how much effort they've gone to make it possible for people like me to create something. And it doesn't take long. I'm not going to do a detailed sheet building session now. But here is the sheets pane. I think they will look at pop-out at some point. And I think that will help, actually, the overall experience. I suspect the Roll developers have got, video screens that are like this big, and so they can fit everything on without even thinking. I'm very fortunate to have a fairly good resolution monitor myself, but not everyone will. I am going on about that because I do think it's an issue with regard to the UI. But the sheet builder is great, and it builds very simple to use sheets. And I'll show you how they work now. So what have I got on here? Not a lot. It's a new. This is called a room, by the way. This is my room, and you can have multiple rooms. And this is a room which is grouped together sheets, resources, and to come very soon, a theme to the room. So the sort of surrounding background you have here is the default background. Not my room, by the way. This is my garage. It's quite cold. But the sort of, well, I don't know what we call this, sort of marbled effect around me. That is the default. Pretty soon we're going to have the ability to theme that, to have a backdrop. I'm not sure how far the theming will go? Will it affect the UI at all? Will it affect things like sheet backgrounds? Will it affect the dice roller backgrounds? How far will it go? I don't actually know. Obviously, the answer is as far as we'd like, but let's see what they come up with to start with. But nevertheless, you get a great room in which to play. I think they're what's called tables. It's called rooms now. I quite like room. It's good. I like the way I've done that. I've got two sheets. I've got a character sheet and I've got a tracker. Well, let's start with the character sheet, and I'll talk a bit about how I do characters in Roll. Now, the character sheet for 2D20, and I should have had one available as a share, but I haven't done that, is quite involved. It's quite a big sheet. It's got a couple of dozen skills at least, quite a lot of bits. It's one of the reasons that Infinity 2D20 scares me a little bit. As a game, it plays relatively straightforward, actually, and I'm very familiar with the 2D20 mechanics, which are great. Infinity is just quite crunchy. It's got a lot to it. And you can, in Infinity, in Roll, reflect a whole complex character sheet on the sheets. So the amount of it isn't a problem to Roll, except the navigation of it is... it's okay, and they've made it as okay as I think they can within the remit that they've got at the moment. But you basically want to have more visible to you at any one go than the resolution of the sheets allows. And that's fundamentally the problem to me, not what it can do. Because what it can do is great. So there are ways around it, and I'll show you the way around it. The way around it for me is I've simplified what it is I want Roll to do, as opposed to the character sheet, which will still be on my table and still available to me. What I want to see, and what I want others to be able to see, is where they are with regard to their shared resources and where they are with their dice rolls. And that's about it. The rest of it can be stored on the sheet. So I've separated it out. I did start with 4E. I created a big 4E sheet. That was hard because they've got all the powers. There isn't the capability to import anything. There's no APIs or anything like that. Again, it's very simple to apply and simple to create. That's the key thing. It's simple to create and simple to get going. That's its strength. So it doesn't have all that. So I created this huge sheet, and none of my players wanted to use it. It's like too much of a faff. Oh, I've already got my character. I don't have to do it on there as well. I've got to keep it up, and I've got to do it, and now I've got to find it. No, it doesn't really work. But it's great for what it does. And it gets you up in a game, and yes, you've got a sheet, but you've got everything you need to play collectively and share those dice rolls. So what have I got here on the character? What have I got on the character sheet? I've got the character's name. That seemed appropriate. And of course, when you do share your sheets, you can edit it and put the character's name on, and that's quite nice as well. And then a dice roller. But the only thing I've done with the dice roller is I have said, say what the skill value is, and in 2D20 it's a number from about 3 or 4, probably a bit higher, probably about 7 actually. It's a number of 7 up to about, 20 probably, I don't know. So I can say, my skill value at the moment is 13. Okay, you're going to do a 13. And then what I've done is I've just simply linked this skill total to the dice roller. So I click on this now, it will open the dice roller. If I had the dice roller actually open, let's do that again. And it's prepared me 2d20 because it's 2d20. So that's the way the game works. You roll 2d20 typically to start, and you roll equal to or less than your skill, which is got as a reference value as 13. So I can now roll that if I want, or I could spend some momentum if the group pool has got some momentum, and add some extra dice in. So let's say I spend 2 momentum on this. I want to make it happen. I'm going to add 2 more 2d20 onto here, and then I roll. Now, the dice roller doesn't tell me how many successes I've got against my reference. It doesn't assume that I'm rolling equal to or less than that reference. So I just have to eyeball it. And sure enough, that's a rubbish roll. And I've got an 8. So I've got 1 success. That might not be enough. Maybe I've failed badly here, but there we are. So you can see straight away how that works, and that's just based around the sheet. The sheet does that for you, and again I can clear that, It clears it on the sheet, and off I go. I have put combat dice down here, which is another sort of dice roll mechanism within in 2D20. I've called it combat dice. Actually, I can edit the number of dice, which I don't think I really need to do. So I can click on it, and it puts up 5d6, and I can roll them. I can change the number of d6, I think I can, on the sheet. Unless I've got that maybe slightly wrong. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, and again, here's what I have to interpret. So it's custom dice. So 1s, 2s, and 6s mean something. So I can straight away see that I've got 2 2s. That's a 4. I've got a result of 4. The 3, 4, and 4 don't count. I eyeball it. It's okay. I say it's all right. I think it is. I'm going to clear that. So you can do dice rolling from your sheet, and you can set it up really quickly to do that. Resources such as infinity points. You can have infinity points. You can store them. You can add them. You can lose them. It says what you do with them. Then all I've done is I've added the 3 damage tracks, because Infinity's got 3 damage tracks. Oh, yes. And I've stored that on there. I could have stored other things, other resources possibly, but those are the key ones. So, you can keep track of your firewall. That can drop down. And if it gets breached, you can record your breaches of your firewall. That's not good. Or get rid. Or you can increase it up to an amount. And same with your resolve and same with your vigor. So either your tech, how you're feeling about yourself and your physical body, those are your 3 things you measure. And that's it for the sheet. I could have made a much larger sheet. The other thing that they do for navigation, particularly for larger sheets, is they've indexed it. So again, I've been pushed very slightly to the left again with an indexing system, so I can jump to different parts of the sheet. Speeds it up, especially if you've got a large sheet with a lot of sections. That's very quick, really well worth using. The other sheet I've got is a tracker. So here I've got another dice roller on there because I just wanted it, because that's probably going to be for me. I'll use that as a dice roller for me baddies. But there's also shared momentum. So this is a group shared sheet. Not easy to say. And this is their momentum pool and how you spend it. And this is my heat pool, where I keep all my resources, where I can spend to, I don't know, have my baddies react or add more baddies or add to the difficulty at particular moments, or create another effect, and spend some heat and some shared notes, which I doubt will get used, but they're there. You can add notes together. Hello. Can't type either. There you go. Hello. Those are my sheets. You can have a lot of sheets if you want. You can, but I wouldn't worry. So that's largely my Infinity setup in Roll, and that's largely what you've got. Sheets can do all sorts of things. They basically record dice rolls. They record information that's useful. They're shareable across the group. You can have shared sheets. You can have single sheets that are only available to you, but are made available to the group in terms of seeing them, I think. Yeah, it's pretty good. Room settings, my settings, manage players. I can get shot at people if I feel like it. You out. I can delete a room. I'm not doing that. I'm going to use this room. Let me come back. Push out of the way. Although I'm still very much in Roll. Very quick zoom around Roll. Infinity. That's probably back to front. Sorry. Corvus Belli's Cost of Greed. I'm thinking of running this. Quite a light, shortish mini campaign on Roll. Roll, as I say, there's not a themed room for Infinity. I'm not expecting one particularly, but there is for Homeworld, which actually I'd really love to run as well. So I could be spending a lot of time in Roll. Look at this. Look at that. If you're wanting to stay fit, It's a big book. It's a big book. It's big, it's thick, and the mound of supplements for it is mountainous. It really is. There's lots of them, and they're all really good. They all build out. They all do a great job. It's a really good game, this Infinity. If you haven't seen it, you fancy playing it, give it a look. It's really pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to give this a go. Whether I stream and present something on YouTube or something, I really don't know. But it's easy to do. Because what do? You set up OBS, you set up a room. You might, provide some additional graphics on either side just to make it look nice. You could do that. You don't have to do that. And actually, there's very little else. You set up your video and audio on OBS and press record or press stream if you want to stream directly onto YouTube. And you're done. And everything about the video and audio is just here. It's all within Roll and it all works. And I have to say, in 2 years of playing, I don't know what magic they do with their audio visual, but it's pretty robust. We do get some dropouts from time to time, and that's inevitable. But the strength of it is what I want to emphasize to you. It's really good, high quality. You don't often get that. You don't always get that with some of the others. So they've done a really, really good job there. That's it. A bit about Infinity, quite a lot about Roll, as it turns out, with lots of exciting developments to come. So I do encourage you to take a look at it. I'll put a link probably in the video to Roll down the bottom there. It's playroll.com, ROLE, playroll.com. Go there, sign up, play some games there, see how you find it. It's really easy to get into. And if you're at all uncertain once you get there, they've got a great Discord. I'll send an invite to the Discord down there as well. It's a great community. People just help each other out. And because the sheets that you make can be shared, and by that I mean shared amongst the community, you can pick up other people's templates, have a look at them, maybe edit them, make them your own, and then even republish them. So there's a great sort of sense of community with Roll because they give you the tools to do it. So it's community by design. They've thought about it. It's great. It's really good. Really good. And they're lovely people, by the way, as well. So there we are. A lot about Roll. Infinity. Should I do a streamed game of Infinity? Dare me. Dare me. Would you watch it? And I'll confess, I'm not a big stream viewer. I'm awesomely impressed with things like Critical Role. I think they're wonderful. And the skills that they have are amazing. I don't watch many others. And I'll just say something about that before I go. All right? I'm not a big streamer because a lot of streamers seem to try to mimic the Critical Role format, I'm going to say. What I often find with some of these streamers is they have a very set template which they present to the viewer, which is largely 4 or 5 video boxes, very nicely laid out, maybe something dynamic that shows the dice rolls, maybe, and that's it. And I have to say, I don't find most of the streamers, no offense, as engaging as professional voice actors. And so that format of just presenting you in video boxes, I think exposes you to a limitation. What I'd rather see is basically people just playing their game. So I want to see the VTT in action. I want to see the dice rolls. I want to see the GM grabbing the map and lobbing it on. I want to see the counters if there's a tactical element to the game. There might not be. But even if there's not a tactical element, I bet there's images that are being displayed. You don't see them. And it's just literally these 5 people for 2.5 hours. And it's often not strong enough for me to keep my attention. And that's probably a limitation on me, but I can't do it. With exceptions. The exceptions might be Critical Role. I don't watch Critical Role. My daughter does. And I can see why. They're excellent. Glass Cannon Network If I had to call somebody out as being fab, I'll call out the Glass Cannon Network, because I think they're also very good. I don't know if I think they're professional people. I mean, they're professional industry people of some description, but they're extraordinarily engaging and their play is very good. And I can watch a bit of that. So if you were to watch me doing something like this, it would be in Roll, and you'd see all the windows coming in and out and graphics going up and dice rolls and counters moving around. That's more me. I watch the Dungeon Muser, the Dungeon Musing channel, and occasionally actually I participate. I've actually participated in a stream. I don't do it very often at all. I like what he does, because it's just it's just if you're around the table watching their game. There's some ancillary chat going on. That's that. If I feel like I'm there, I've got a cup of tea. Sit and watch. Yeah, have it on in the background. And they're very much playing the game, and they're very focused on the game. But it's just the game, you know, and it's just Roll20 displayed. So it's not being curated into beautifully done 5 boxes. So that's me prattling on about streaming. And that sounded a bit negative. I didn't mean to be negative. It's just that I can't do it. So me thinking about streaming, what am I thinking? I might record them and, you know, do an hour or something. Would I really want to stream Infinity, this big beast of a game, which is awesome, by the way? It's an awesome game. I don't know. There might be easier ones to do. It might expose my lack of knowledge of the game. I might get it wrong. You can see all the Corvus Belli aficionados going, oh, he's got that wrong. Maybe. Anyway, maybe I will. Comments below. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll welch on that and not do it. Don't know. Anyway, that's probably enough for me. I'm gonna think about the outro now. I've just thought about the outro. I've got a pencil. Thanks for watching. I hope that was interesting to you to see Roll. Infinity, an idea about what I've done to get a game up and running. Just a few assets there, and you can start. You know, I think one of the tyrannies of virtual tabletops is the amount of preparation you have to do as a GM. You're so busy curating audio tracks and video and maps and tokens and assets and thinking about what assets you need. To be honest, it's a lot of work. With Roll, you can get something up very, very quickly and get playing. It's good for theatre of the mind, obviously, because you've got this video box kind of format, but it does do everything else. And I recommend it. So take a look at Roll and enjoy your gaming. Right, I'm gonna press a button which is over there. I'm not very sophisticated. My button's over there, so I've got to look, or I'll miss the button. I'm going to fade away. I'm off for some breakfast. See you later. Cheers.